Hello everyone, welcome to the ITLS Academy with me Kavita Yadav as a mentor and training coordinator at ITLS Academy. Our today's lecture is based on the topic genetically modified food, the GM food in short we say. So let's begin with the introduction first. As we know that advances in plant biotechnology have made it possible to identify and modify genes controlling specific characteristics and specific traits. Nowadays, these scientists can transfer genes from one organism to another unrelated organism, producing what is now known as the genetically modified organism or transgenic animal plant and genetically modified foods are food products produced from genetically modified organisms. We are talking about specifically genetically modified crops. The in short form we call as the GMOs for genetically modified organism. The GMOs have had specific changes introduced in their DNA by genetic engineering techniques. These techniques are much more precise than mutagenesis, that is the mutation breeding. Mutation is something the natural occurring disease or natural occurring phenomena, but and in that also the manipulation of the genes occurs, but we do it manually in genetic engineering, that is for our benefit. So what are genetically modified foods? It involves the insertion of DNA from one organism into another or modification of an organism DNA in order to achieve a desired trait, the gene of interest which we want to be inserted in the another organism. Genetically modified organism can be defined as organism in which the genetic material, that is the DNA, has been altered in a way that does not occur naturally. The technology is often called the modern biotechnology or gene technology, and sometimes also known as the recombinant DNA technology or genetic engineering. It allows the selected individual gene to be transferred from one organism into another and also between non-related species. So this process allows the organism to acquire a desirable trait such as pest protection, herbicides resistance, or improve the nutritional qualities. The enhancement of the desired trait has traditionally been undertaken through breeding, but conventional plant breeding methods can be very time consuming and are often not very accurate. So the peculiar features which could define the genetically modified foods are that these foods can contain an added gene sequence, and also the food have a deleted gene sequences. Obviously if we insert a desirable gene, then we have to cut some of the sequences out of that, which is not of very useful for the plant or for the organism. So the food may contain the added sequences and may also be contain the deleted gene sequences. Suppose if our plant showing some awkward features and we do not want to be appear in this plant for further generation, so we can delete some of the sequences. So that is why the food can also be must also contain some deleted gene sequences. Animal product from fed genetically modified feed, and products produced by genetically modified organism. Although the biotechnology and genetic modification commonly are used interchangeably, the genetic modification is a special set of technologies that alter the genetic makeup of the organism, such as the animals, the plants, or the bacteria. The biotechnology, a more general term, refer to using the organism or their components such as the enzyme to make products that includes wine, cheese, beers, and yogurt. So combining genes from different organisms is known as the recombinant DNA technology, and the resulting organism is said to be genetically modified or genetically engineered, or the transgenic we can say. So GM products current of those in the development includes the medicines, vaccines, foods and food ingredients, feeds and fibers. So such methods are used to create GM plant, which are then used to grow the GM food crop. So I hope you understood the introduction, basic introduction. What is the GM, or what does it mean, genetically modification? Okay, what are the characteristics of GM food? So GM food are genetically modified such that it will benefit mankind in terms of what we eat. So there are two aspects that can be improved by genetic modification, and we are talking about the input basis and the output basis, the alteration of input trait and the alteration of the output trait. So input trait includes the resistance to pest and harmful factors, resistance to pesticides and herbicides, and resistance to disease and viruses. These are included in input traits because these are the initial conditions that if we provide a proper condition to the food of plants, the further production will be of good quality. So the input trait includes the resistance from pest. If the crops are free from the pest, crops are free from the weeds, then obviously the yield will be good. So by some modification in their genes, pest by themselves uh, pest and pesticides, herbicides are no need to be encountered in that. Next is the alteration of output trait. Alteration of output trait includes the increased output of the crops, increased duration of the shelf life, increased nutritional value, and obviously health and medicinal benefits has included in the output traits. Okay, next let's talk about the GM food techniques. There are mainly three types of GM food techniques. Means how the genetically modified foods have been processed. What are the techniques used to modify the genes in a particular plant or crops? First one is the inserting gene, means gene shifting. Here in this process, the genes are determined by different DNA sequences. When the isolated gene is inserted into a plant, it becomes part of the plant's gene and work with its own function. This method can increase or improve the plant, such as the resistance to insect, which increases the yield of the food afterwards. Next is the removing genes, means gene silencing, means those characters which we do not want to be appear in the future generation of the plants. The function here is to reduce or stop through genetic modification. For example, the function of virus which causes the dried and spot of the tomato is reduced by removing parts of the gene. Thus, the virus cannot be reproduced and tomato can grow healthy. Next is the technique is the changing the process of catabolism, means gene splicing. Here in this, the food can be enhanced by changing the process of catabolism, such as controlling the percentage of the starch of the glutinous rice, and it also includes the controlling the taste, mass, color, and usefulness of the particular food product. So these are the three techniques which are generally considered in modification of the gene of a particular crop, particular plant, particular animal. Next is the general genetically modification food processing. Here the process for GM has 8 steps, and let's begin with it. First one is the isolation of genes of interest. In this, a chromosome is used to identify the genes responsible for the desired trait in the organism. Next is the insertion of the gene into a transfer vector. So for in the first one, we have to sort out the particular gene of interest, means whatever the characteristics we want. Suppose we want a rice to be of longer, that should be of longer in length. So we took out the trait that took out that gene of interest which is responsible for the longer length of a particular rice. So that would be our of gene of interest, that would be our interested gene which I want to be inserted into the another type of rice in which we want the longer growth of the length of the rice. So that would be the particular gene of interest, and we have to isolate it first. Then the next step is the insertion of the gene into a transfer vector. In this, the desired trait is put into the plasmid so that it could be easily transferable. Next is the plant transformation. In this, the plasmid contained inside that Agrobacterium tumefaciens cells transfers the plasmid and new gene into the plant's chromosome. Means, for example, we cannot put the genes directly into the target gene. Suppose if we want to deliver the particular, we want to insert a particular gene of interest into the DNA of the certain crop, then what we have to do, we have to provide that gene a vector. Suppose, for example, we that is a gene of interest. Suppose, for example, it is a passenger, and for traveling a passenger from one place to another place, means from the particular desired trait from to the targeted organism, we have to provide a vehicle on which it could be traveled and move to that target place and get inserted. So here the work of the plasmid is the same. It provides a vehicle for the gene of interest so that it could easily be transferred, it could easily transfer the required gene of interest to the that particular target gene, target DNA. So the plant transformation, the plasmid that I have told, that contain the required that contain the gene of interest cells transfers the plasmid to the new gene into the plant's chromosome. Next is the selection of the modified plant cell. Now, the selectable marker genes are used to favor the growth of the cells containing the trait as opposed to the non-transformed cells. Next is the regeneration into whole plant via tissue culture. Now, once the gene has been shortlisted and then it is mounted over the plasmid and then transferred into the target gene, then we have to select the modified plant in which that particular gene has been shown, and then the regeneration step has a start. In this step, they take the explant, that is the plant or cell, onto a media containing the nutrients that spark the development of the cells that forms the plantlets that once rooted are put into the pots controlled in environmental condition. Then the next is the verification of the transformation and characterization of the inserted DNA fragment. Means it is the step that in which we have to select whether the particular gene of interest is inserted properly or not, and it is showing the desired characteristics in the new growth or not. This we have to verify it. So the tests are done to determine the number of copies, if intact and doesn't interfere with the other genes. These tests are done to see if the genes is functional or not. Next step is the testing of the plant performance. Here we see or test and see if the resulted plant grown in a greenhouse has acquired the favored trait, and if it has any unwanted characteristic, then also it is reported. Last is the safety assessment. Now more test is carried out to see plant's performance, environmental safety assessment and other safety assessment. So, and it is very important step. Once it is being incorporated, then we have to we have to check out whether the growing plant is beneficial for the environment or not, whether it could not harm provide any harm to the social environment or not. These are the criteria we have to check it for in the safety assessment. Okay, here are some common genetically modified food. These are the examples of which have been discovered till now. First is the soya bean, corn and sugar beet. These are modified such that they resistant to glyphosate by inserting herbicide resistant gene. Next is the cotton seed oil. It is made by inserting pest resistance Bt crystal protein gene. Third one is the tomato. It is being made by removing the genes that code for the polygalacturonose responsible for softening of fruit after harvesting. Next is the potatoes. In this, the amylopectin-rich variety of switching off the GBSS, the granule bond starch synthase gene, responsible for amylase production. Next is the rapeseed canola. It has been modified with high oleic acid content by adding new gene. Last one is the rice. Rice has been modified with high vitamin A by inserting gene from daffodils. Okay, here are the benefits of GM products, how it is beneficial for the environment, for the crops, for animals and the society. Taking the first point as the crop, the GM products are beneficial in terms of that it provides the enhanced taste and quality in the modified crop. It reduces the maturation time, also increase the nutrients yield and stress tolerant, improve the resistance to disease, pest and herbicide, and new products and growing techniques. Next is beneficial for animals as it increases the resistance, productivity, hardiness and feed efficiency, better yield of meat, egg and milk, improved animal health and diagnostic method, and beneficial for environment, that is the friendly bioherbicide and bioinsecticides, conservation of soil, water and energy, bioprocessing and forestry product, better natural waste management and more efficient processing. Last one is the society, beneficial for society as we get the increased food security for growing population. Next, let's talk about the how are the potential risks to human health determined. Here, the safety assessment of GM food generally investigates the direct health effect, that is, it has been checked for its toxicity and tendencies to provoke allergic reactions, specific component thought to have nutritional or toxic properties, the stability of inserted gene, nutritional effects associated with the genetic modification, and any unintended effects which could result from the gene insertion. So these are the risks that has been treated, that has been the potentials that have been checked at every point, that whether the inserted gene is stable or not, or whether it is stable or whether it is providing a good effect or bad effect to the body. And also it is being treated to check out at every point that after inserting the gene into the product and then after the consumption, that could not be shown the toxicity after eating the food. So these are the points where the nutritional and toxicity properties have been checked to ensure the human health. Beside the good effect, most of the people have the negative impact on the genetically modified crop. Talking about the environment condition, we said the crossbreeding. So the crossbreeding, the potential for crossbreeding between the genetically modified crops and surrounding vegetation includes the weeds. This could result in weeds that are resistant to herbicides and would thus require a greater use of herbicides, which could lead to the soil and water contamination. So this is a big problem. Next is the herbicide tolerant crop. The increasing age range of herbicide tolerance crop, the such as the soybean and canola, has resulted in an increased in these types of wheat that are now glyphosate resistant GR. Next is the health issues. Health issues, if we talk about the allergens, the genetically engineering could potentially introduce or create allergens. For example, the inserting gene from a nut into another plant could dangerous for people who have the allergy from the nuts. The antibiotic resistance, the bioengineers insert a marker gene. If genes enter the food chain and are taken up by the human gut microflora, the effectiveness of the antibiotics could be reduced and human infectious disease risk increased. Next, let's talk about the role of WHO to improve the evaluation of genetically modified food. So WHO will take an active role in relation to GM foods primarily for two reasons. One is the on the grounds that the public health could benefit enormously from the potential of biotechnology, for example, from an increase in the nutrient content of the foods, decreased allergenicity, and more efficient food production. And based on the need to examine the potential negative effect on human health of consumption of food produced through genetic modification, also at the global level. It is clear that the modern technologies must be thoroughly evaluated if they are to constitute a true improvement in the way food is produced. So, such evaluation must be holistic and all inclusive and cannot stop to the at the previously separated not coherent system of the evaluation, focusing solely on the human health to or environmental effect in solution. So work is therefore underway in WHO to present a broader view of the evaluation of GM foods in order to enable the consideration of other important factors. This more holistic evaluation of the genetically modification organism and genetically modified product will consider not only safety but also the food security, social and ethical aspects, and access and capacity building. The international work in this new direction pure suppose the involvement of other key international organizations in this area. Next is the current status of GM food in India. India is a signatory to the Cartagena Protocol on Biosafety (CPB) since 2003. India's Apex Biotech Regulatory Committee, the Genetic Engineering Approval Committee (GEAC), that functions as a statutory body under the Environment Protection Act 1986 of the Ministry of the Environment and Forest, has been changed to Genetic Engineering Appraisal Committee in July 22 to 2010. BT cotton is the only GM crop grown in India. So, cultivation of BT cotton was allowed in 2002. India has become a net exporter of cotton in the last one decade, and 90% of the total cotton cultivation area is covered by BT cotton. Yield is more than 80% compared to non BT cotton, and more than 600 hybrid seeds are in the circulation now. So, how it is regulated in India? The regulation in India. In India, the genetically modified crops are regulated under the Environment Protection Act 1986, as I discussed. These rules are called the rules for the manufacture, use, import, export, and storage of hazardous microorganism, genetically engineered organism or cells. The Genetic Engineering Approval Committee, the GEAC, has been authorized as the interministerial body under the Ministry of the Environment and Forest to be authority to permit any manufacture, use, import, export, and storage of hazardous microorganisms and genetically modified organism or cell. In practice, it is a review committee on genetic manipulation (RCGM) under the Department of Biotechnology that is currently authorizing research up to limited field trials and also import of GM material for research purposes. In addition to these rules, the guidelines have been prepared by the regulators for the actual experimentation and release, and there are specific format prescribed for various applications for GM imports and used to be received by the regulators. And also the under the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, the Indian Council of Medical Research (ICMR) stated its own view on the regulatory regime and the way ahead for the genetically modified foods in the country. The ICMR opines that the safety assessment of the GM food should be as per the Codex Alimentarius Commission, that is India followed the OECD guidelines for the most of the tests under the safety assessment as of the now for GM foods. And this let me remind you, this Codex Alimentarius Commission have it has been delivered to you in the previous lecture of this continuation. So do refer to that video also. Now for GM food, there is a proposed legislation to make labeling mandatory under the Prevention of the Food Adulteration Act under the Ministry of Health and Welfare, Family Welfare. Food Safety and Standard Authority of India has constituted the expert group of formulate the regulatory framework for the genetically modified food. The country also witnessed in 2005 the move by the Department of Biotechnology to make a biotechnology policy in the form of draft biotechnology development strategy. The civil society group responded to this draft policy and gave their feedback strongly questioning the very premises on which transgenic agriculture is being promoted as a necessity for Indian agriculture through his draft policy. India's regulatory regime has recently been questioned by the United States of America through the Committee on Technical Variation Trade. This notification, this notification in the committee has received the adverse strong response from the civil society group. Regulation of the GM crops in India, what constitute the biosafety designs, the institutional mechanism and issues by one of the biosafety in the larger impact assessment framework have been an issue of good debate in the recent past. So this is accentuated by the fact that there are many genetically modified crops in the pipeline waiting for the approval for various stages of trial. Amongst these are GM potato, GM mustard, and genetically modified brinjals. Briefing papers and civil society feedback by GES and GM rice are still waiting for the regulation in India properly. Next is the GM food labeling. An international approach internationally, the Codex Alimentarius Commission, an international standard setting body for food, has a committee on food labeling. Since 1990, the Codex has sought to develop guidelines for labeling biotech food. So far, however, there is no agreement on the international standards. In all likelihood, a final Codex standard on the labeling of biotech food will not occur for many years. The approaches taken in different countries towards the GM food labeling differ greatly. The EU has very strict genetically modified labeling guidelines. In contrast, United States, Argentina, and Canada, the three big producers whose government do not believe in mandatory labeling. Japan, South Korea, China, and other countries are in between the EU and the United States on this issue. So labeling is must. Some of the countries have strictly followed the labeling guidelines under the Codex Alimentarius Commission, and some countries are not. But it is, according to me, it is very necessary to follow the guidelines that should be able to be printed on the labels that the crops have been modified or not, and people should know that it is been genetically modified crops we are taking in it. So at last, I would conclude that the genetically modified food have the potential to solve many of the world's hunger and malnutrition problem, to help and protect, preserve an environment by increasing yield and reducing the reliance upon the chemical pesticides and herbicides. Yet, there are many challenges ahead for the government, especially in the areas of the safety testing, regulation, and international policies. Many people feel that the genetic engineering is the inevitable wave of the future that we cannot afford to ignore a technology that has such enormous potential benefits. However, we must proceed with the caution to avoid causing unintended harm to human health and the environment as a result of our enthusiasm for this powerful technology. I hope you have gone through what is the GM food, what is the GM crops. For more information, please log on to our website and register yourself at www.itlsacademy.com. Do follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, WhatsApp, LinkedIn, and yes, do not forget to subscribe our channel ITLS Academy at YouTube. Thank you for being with us.